This is Russia's Su-75 fighter jet, a single-engine V-shaped twin-tails internal weapons bay and a stealth design. But here's the twist. This jet wasn't made for Russia's own air force. Its real audience, that's very clear. It's aimed at countries that can't afford the F-35 or are blocked from buying Western jets for political reasons, but still crave a fifth-generation fighter. Think Argentina, Vietnam, India, and even parts of Africa. That's a massive potential market. So the Su-75 was built on compromises. It may not be as stealthy or as sensor-fused as the F-35, but it offers what buyers want most: an affordable ticket into the fifth-generation club. Russia's formula is simple: 80% of the performance at 30% of the price. That's how they pitch it, a cutting-edge weapon for the new Axis powers. Its main rival, America's F-35, the Lightning C. That's why Putin personally put so much hope into the Su-75. He even showed up at the jet's big unveiling. Because for him, this aircraft could be the bridge to closing the gap with America's fifth gens. And if Russia can mass produce it, the Su-75 becomes not just a jet, but a political weapon, Moscow's flagship for leading the new Axis. Unlike the heavyweight Su-57, this jet isn't built to dominate the skies outright. Why? Because the Su-57, like America's F-22, is simply too expensive and too tough to mass produce. The Su-75, on the other hand, was designed from the start to be cost-effective. Its mission: deliver a good enough, fifth-generation solution at a much lower price. When the F-35A first rolled out, it cost around $70 million per jet. The Su-75, just half that, $35 million. And here's something else. For the very first time, the Sukhoi design bureau stepped into the light fighter market. Before this, they were all about mid to heavy jets, from the Su-27 to the Su-35. Sukhoi even claims the 75 can be tailored to customer needs. Custom avionics, custom weapons systems. That could mean AESA radar, integrated electronic warfare, and even teaming up with drones. On paper, that makes it a very flexible combat platform. Now, whether its stealth actually rivals the F-35, that's still unproven. But the shape definitely follows stealth rules, and it even echoes the failed Boeing X-32 prototype. The Su-75 is supposed to run on the AL-41F1 engine, also product 30, max thrust 7.5 tons, top speed, Mach 1.8 range, a 900 kilometers with a combat radius over 400. Spec for spec, it's close to the F-35, and maybe even better in some ways. It's got potential for sustained supersonic cruise, which means faster responses and quicker engagements. But here's where politics collides with engineering. For Putin, one way to slash costs was to invade Ukraine, seizing its aerospace talent, cheap labor, and raw materials. If Russia had crushed Ukraine quickly, each Su-75 could have been built for under $20 million. That means for every allied F-35, the new Axis could field 3 Su-75s. Russia even gave it the name, Checkmate, like the final move in chess. In Putin's mind, this was his winning play. But dreams are one thing, reality is another, and ironically, Putin himself became the biggest obstacle to the Su-75's future. Since the jet's debut in 2021, the Ukraine war and Western sanctions have devastated Russia's aerospace supply chain. Avionics, chips, composites, all critical for mass production, were cut off. Without a brain, a stealth shell is just an empty shell. The program has been murky, full of delays. Meanwhile, by 2025, America had already built over 200 F-35s. The Allies are aiming for 500 across 3 variants. The pressure on Moscow's new axis is massive. Yes, Russia's battlefield advances continue. But even if Ukraine falls, can Putin really get the Su-75 battle ready against America's F-35? This wouldn't just be a dogfight between 2 jets. It would be a clash of 2 doctrines, 2 industries, 2 global strategies. To understand the difference, you've got to look at their roots. America's F-22 Raptor, the undisputed king of the skies, was built for one thing: U.S. dominance. It's so advanced, Washington won't even sell it to its allies. But allies still need fighters. The U.S. Navy and Marine Corps needed a cheaper, multi-role strike aircraft too, so in 1993, the Joint Strike Fighter program, the JSF, was born. The goal: replace America's and its allies' aging fleets with a common 5th-gen fighter. From the F-22 experience, the U.S. learned one big lesson: these jets are insanely expensive to develop. Pooling allies and multiple services made the costs bearable. The JSF program had 2 key goals: multi-role versatility and affordability. 2 companies got the contracts: Boeing and Lockheed Martin, each with $750 million in funding. The idea was to keep both alive, so no one risked bankruptcy competing. But here's where it gets funny. Boeing heard affordability, Lockheed Martin heard multi-role. Their designs reflected that difference. Lockheed's F-35 looked like a smaller, single-engine F-22 and borrowed heavily from it. Compared to the Raptor, the F-35 offered integrated avionics and sensor fusion, letting it pull in data from the outside world like no fighter before. Boeing's X-32, meanwhile, took extreme measures to cut costs. It had a bizarre delta wing made from a single giant piece of carbon fiber composite. That reduced parts, assembly steps, and costs. And then there was that infamous big mouth intake. It was simple, effective, and stealthy, but ugly. Even test pilots cringed when they saw it. Still, the chin intake was a clever compromise. Great for stealth, great for high angles of attack, and cheap to build. For its vertical takeoff version, the X-32 used a simple direct lift method, diverting thrust straight down. It avoided the F-35's complex and expensive shaft-driven lift fan. It wasn't as powerful, but it was lighter and cheaper. Now fast forward to today. The Su-75 still isn't in mass production, so to get insight, let's compare it with Boeing's old X-32. Despite being separated by 2 decades and different countries, both jets share one surprising thing: they cut corners in similar ways. And Russia's engineers might even deserve the Most Improved award here. The Su-75 optimized the X-32's belly intake. Instead of a giant mouth, it uses a supersonic DSI intake. No moving parts, just a clever bump shaping airflow. That cuts weight, cost, and boosts stealth. It's basically a modern evolution of the X-32's idea. So no, the Su-75 isn't a copy. It's more like a reinterpretation. For decades, Sukhoi chased heavy twin-engine performance. So unveiling a single-engine, lightweight fighter shocked many, from the F-35 to the X-32 to the Su-75. One lesson stands out. Single engines are the cheapest way to build a 5th-gen fighter. That also makes the fuel and flight control system simpler. Half the complexity. Beyond engines, one standout feature of the Su-75 is its V-tail. 2 fins set in a V shape, replacing traditional vertical and horizontal stabilizers. It saves weight, drag, and looks futuristic. But here's the catch: V-tails can cause instability and turbulence, so you need a longer fuselage to balance it out. Boeing tried it early on with the X-32, but later ditched it after realizing the jet handled poorly compared to the F-35. The Su-75, though, sticks with the V-tail, so everyone's curious, can Russia fix the stability issue? To cut risks, the Su-75 shares avionics, sensors, and cockpit design with the Su-57. It also uses internal bays for weapons, making it compatible with Russia's existing arsenal. The X-32, by contrast, had to compromise. Its vertical lift system forced the engine into the center, pushing the weapon's bays to the sides. That even created weird risks, like firing a missile into its own landing gear. The Su-75 learned the right lesson. Don't even try building a vertical lift version. Not when you can't outdo the F-35 system anyway. So Russia went for simple designs, proven tech, and a very precise market strategy. That's their survival play against the F-35's dominance. But who's really better? Let's be blunt. If you've got the budget, the F-35 wins hands down. It's not just America's jet, it's the jet for all US allies. The Su-75, it's still a paper plane. What was once hyped as Russia's Checkmate to the 35 is now struggling just to survive. The war in Ukraine drained Russia's budget, and sanctions crippled its aerospace industry. They tried finding international partners, like the UAE, like India. But after the war started, no one wanted to risk the politics or sanctions. The funding dried up. Meanwhile, Russia's defense industry is focused on the here and now. Su-34s and Su-35s for the war effort. A future project like the Su-75 just isn't a priority anymore. Even Russia's state media barely mentions it now. And the war has exposed how underwhelming Russia's Air Force really is. Potential buyers see that, and they doubt Russia's promises. Because here's the harsh truth, any country buying a Su-75 won't just be buying a jet. They'd be betting on Russia's ability to supply spare parts, upgrades, and long-term support. And right now, that bet looks very bad.